As a young artist, I pretty much bought into the idea that if you just do good work, then that's enough, and everything else will work out. And it's a really tempting philosophy, because it has an element of truth to it, that you feel inside that what's important is doing good work, and that the other stuff isn't deeply important. But it's not true that if you just do the work, then the rest comes, and it's okay that that's not true. It's not a problem. It can a bit be a problem if you believe something's true that's not, right? So in particular, I have definitely been inclined to try and let my work speak for itself. I've written some blog posts about the design process and stuff, but on the whole, I don't try to interpret my work. I just make something. And yeah, I'm trying to more learn to shape the narrative around it. I know what I'm doing here isn't reaching a large audience, which is completely appropriate, but I'm trying to practice talking about the work with it to then, once I'm even clear on what I'm saying and how to say it, then take that to a larger audience and work out how to bridge that gap, and to really be able to do a better job of serving my games. And because the problem is, if you don't the work does speak for itself in a way, but it speaks in a secret language that then someone else can't tell to someone else any more than, oh, you should play this game. It says something. So people will try in their different ways to render the telling of the game into English or the language, and with varying levels of success. And it helps if the author can do some of that work. Because, if you see a lot of times a new game comes out and all the review sites, they're saying pretty much the same words, because they've played the game a little bit and they're reviewing it, but the people who made the game made their job easy by telling them something to say, and so they're just repeating it. You can get pessimistic about the state of the journalism in games from that, but it's not necessarily. It's good to have the deeper studies being done by people who aren't the creators of the game sometimes, but that's not necessarily the same job as the people just passing on news, right? They're quite different roles, and it's been people have been trying to do them simultaneously, and necessarily make good results. Yeah, because what happens if you don't tell the story, shape the narrative around your game yourself? Someone's like either it doesn't happen or someone else is going to do it, and this is what happened with me. Like, I just made some games and they were nice and like, they hadn't like reached a big audience or anything, but like, just the people, at least in the UK games scene, like, were aware of my work, and then like some famous guy like tweeted about one of my games. It's like, corrupt. It's ugly. Wouldn't it be better if like it had more money spent on it or something? And then like immediately after that, there were dozens of articles popped up, just like repeating this, like, corrupt, so ugly, corrupt. Why didn't the developer spend more money on it? Like, it's just like the most press I've ever gotten, just like because like someone with a wide reach decided to do that, and like, I mean, I think it was very rude. Like, if you want to give someone constructive feedback, like, it's easy enough to do that. And like, if you want to say like, I think you would benefit from these resources that I have access to, and I have access to and you don't, like, there's a way to do that. And yeah, so like whatever, like that was a random thing that happened. But yeah, it's like, even years later, like Horn would be like, I released a new game and people are like, oh, the game by the guy that like some guy said was ugly or something. It's like what? Like my graphics, like, I mean, I make them myself. I'm not a full-time game artist because I do all the other stuff as well. But they're effective, evocative, distinctive, functional. And honestly, there's not a lot of artists working in games who really tickle those. Like, a lot of game graphics fall down on functionality. They try to be flashy and like eye-catching, and okay, it's maybe not true to say that they're not functional, because there's really two functions that the graphics are trying to achieve, which is like communicate information for playing the game and sell the game. And so like they sacrifice functionality in the game to perform the other function of selling the game. And yeah, I certainly don't have I'm certainly not against selling games, but like I think that what's happening in the game is the core of what's important. So like, I wouldn't sacrifice the inside of the game for something external to the game. See what I mean? Like, I want the game to work well and be communicated well while you're playing it, and then trying to figure out what to do outside the game to sell it after that, like, given that the game itself is solid. But yeah, like, you see a lot of games that look great in screenshots, and they're just mush. I don't know. Anyway, like, yeah. Then after that, Liz Ryerson wrote some posts about, like she's Liz is really dear. Yeah. She saw that this narrative was happening around my work, and she tried to step in to turn it around, and wrote this whole spiel about how, like, the game has to be like that, it's intrinsically like that, and that's good. And, like, yeah, meanwhile I was just feeling this like, I just make things, the work talks for itself, like, whatever. Yeah, I appreciate what Liz did. I absolutely think she had good intentions. And she wasn't wrong. Like, the game is what it is. And had it been made under some different sets of constraints with different resources available, it would have been a different game. You can't separate the creation from the circumstances it was made in. Yeah, if I had a hefty budget, I would have made a different game, and that game would have said something different, and the universe wouldn't have that game in it. It would have a different game. And, like, if we lived in that universe, we might think that was great that we have that game, and it would be a shame to be in this universe where we don't have it. But we live in this universe, and, like, from here it seems like a shame to not have Crypt. But yeah, I'm sure the thing I would have made instead would have been worth making, because I would have, like, just done what felt worthwhile spending my time on. But certainly it would have been something different, and, like, that's, yeah, right. That's not an argument that, like, I shouldn't have had resources because I made something that intrinsically used my lack of resources. It's like, probably on the whole it would have been better for me to have more resources, but, like, at the same time, at the time I had enough, so, like, whatever. My cars came in. Oh, it's a motorbike, right? Yep. Yeah, it was only a problem, like, a few years ago with, like, the pandemic and stuff, where I actually ran out of money. So that became a problem. But, like, back then, like, I had a comfortable life. It was fine. More would have been nice, but, like, I was able to do good work, so, like, it's fine. What am I getting at here? It's just, like, thrown off by I had somewhere I was going. Yeah, so, like, respecting and appreciating what Liz wrote, I feel like it's not even necessarily in what she wrote, but in what people read from it, which is, like, yeah, it's always these steps of interpretation that you don't have control over. There's this, like, idea of me as, like, so, like, philosophically indie that, like, I don't want money or anything. Like, I don't know. That doesn't quite make sense. But, like, when I was recently, because I have a publishing deal now, with like funding to make my next game, which is cool. When I was discussing with them, I felt like absolutely not to put any words in their mouth, but just the sense I got when they approached me was that they were like cautious, like, we think we can help you, but like you might be so hardcore indie that you don't want help. Yeah, so like I might have completely misread that, but like I felt like that they had this sense of caution that like I mean, like, I work really hard and I've made a lot of things and I've done some really worthwhile work, I think, and like I would be very happy to be like really appropriately compensated for that. Like, yeah, I'm not. I mean, right? Like, I want to like completely dismantle a capitalist system and like make a fair world, but like right now, I would be happy to like have plenty for myself. And like in that ideal, like I'd hope there'd be plenty for everyone. Yeah. Anyway, like I'm just. I guess just trying to like stoke my confidence to like really sell my work, right? To yeah, to not kind of like in the Kiwi kind of way, just like talk it down. I think I'm just repeating what I said in the first video, but like that's yeah, that's okay if I repeat myself. It's okay if I just like go over the same things again until I get strong at them, right? That's do reps. Like that's how you build yourself up. And yeah,